Hey Jerks, and welcome to day 18 of the Beer Jerk Advent Calendar. Can you believe it's only 1 week till Christmas, Luke?
I can't. 1 week till Christmas, crikey. Oh yeah, he's mad. And well, Christmas is a big deal for you because you've got little kids.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just like, whatever, just have a few days of
I
work.
also fucking love Christmas. Christmas is the best. Everyone always gets all like grinchy about Christmas. I love Christmas, and there's only a week to go. But enough about Christmas. Let's talk about beer.
Well, let's get back to Christmas for just a minute.
Okay.
I'll say cheers, just while we're... Gather around, everybody, while me and Matt rant about things about Christmas. Well, how do you feel about Christmas as an immigrant from the home of Christmas, England?
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand Christmas is shit compared to British Christmas.
Yeah.
And I guess that's
it's
why...
snowing there at the moment, loads. It's so cool.
I guess that's why I get so upset about Christmas, because New Zealanders just don't appreciate Christmas. Because they're like, oh, Christmas, and they're all about summer, which is fair enough.
Everyone watching is in New Zealand, they don't slag them off.
Yeah, I hate you all. No, like summer in New Zealand is the greatest thing in the world. Christmas in New Zealand is bullshit. Here's why. in England, you've got winter and it goes on for ages. And then, boom, Christmas.
Breaks it up.
Bit of joy, middle of winter.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Winter in New Zealand is fucking miserable for ages.
Yeah.
But summer is way better than summer in Europe, so what can you do?
Well, that's the thing, that it's all bundled together.
Stop talking about Christmas.
Stop talking about Christmas. This is a beer from Laughing Bones. Laughing Bones is, from another Northern Hemisphere bloke, John.
John Morawski.
Yeah.
Yes, John.
Yeah, nice work, John. Who's been doing some interesting stuff with, North American stuff, American styles, USA styles. He's the only brewer in New Zealand that has a cream ale in his core range, I believe, which is a pretty...
double vision?
Double vision of cream ale as well.
Already, yeah.
Another American is there.
Yeah.
So the Americans bringing their cream ale influence to New Zealand. Obviously he's into his hops, did a few interesting things. So he's got a really small brewery in Auckland, and it's really nice to see them putting some interesting seasonals out in cans these days. And this is part of a series, which is maybe is this the fifth mountain they've done?
I'm not sure what number it is, but John has been brewing a bunch of different mountain IPAs. Now, a lot of you probably will have heard of West Coast IPAs and New England IPAs, or as they're sometimes known, East Coast IPAs, and they represent that kind of, that West Coast is kind of big, pine, citrus, bitterness, clear, and that East Coast New England IPA is soft, pillowy, juicy, tropical, and the Rocky Mountains run down the middle, well, it's not exactly the middle, but the middle-ish of America. And so the idea of the mountain IPA is that it's halfway in between. So it's got a lot of that big tropical fluffiness that the New England IPAs have, but it's supported by a little more bitterness. And so it's got a little bit more structure to it, and that as it borrows from the West Coast.
Yeah, and this is, as I say, it's a bit of a thing that John has lent into, and he's really found. And it's really nice when you see brewers that kind of find their groove, and they find a style that they're into, and they sort of keep banging them out. We have seen mountain IPAs. It just became a bit of a thing a couple of years ago internationally, as brewers wanted to blend those two things Matt just talked about. And we've definitely seen like 2 or 3 other mountain IPAs in New Zealand. A few maybe.
I can see a few. Deep Creek have done one, and there's been a few others that popped up around the place. And often it's something that we'll talk about amongst ourselves when we try a new IPA. So it's branded as a hazy or it's branded as a West Coast, and we're like, well, this is actually more of a mountain IPA because it is kind of that halfway in between. But I think he's done a really good job with this.
I just looked at it as well just to check what the hops were, but it just says 7 different hops.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
there's a good hop profile in here.
Yeah, it's fresh as anything. This was delivered straight from the packaging line to the warehouse here. So
it's about 23 days old.
Yeah, it's as fresh as it was possible to be for you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does have that mountain IPA feel to it. There's some structural bitterness on the back. There's a really nice creamy body to it. He's really nailed the body on this more than anything, I think.
And that's the great thing. It's a thing that we chat about often. That in this current age of craft beer drinking, people are, I suppose, the Pokemonization of craft beer. People ticking things off on tap. They don't want to drink the same beer twice. But core range beers are so good. And they're good for a reason, that a brewer hones and perfects this beer time and time again. The bigger brewers get hop contracts and get the best hops for their core range beers. But in a sort of similar vein, that John has made Mountain IPA after Mountain IPA, which are all, it's not the same beer, but it's a very similar base that he's working to. And he's honed and perfected that. And he just tweaks the thing every time. Well, he tweaks the hops every time. So he's managed to create a stream of beers that he's done a really good job at crafting.
What was that pause?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a couple of beers in today, just struggling for words.
I really like, as you say, that style of brewing where people are iterating, and it's something that I try and do when I brew. I do it with table beers at home and with small gods as my little niche that I'm trying to perfect. And it's been, I've brewed about 12 now. And for me, it's about, okay, I've tried this yeast and I've tried that yeast and I've tried this one, and you learn the different profiles and how they work, and like this hop and that hop, and tweaking the malt base, and it's just tuning those little dials to get where you want to go. And with this series of Mountain IPAs, I think I'm really impressed with this, and
it's a good beer.
And yeah, I'm loving it.
And as I mentioned, John's brewery is really small, and also Laughing Bones is just John. And I think his wife does some work with his accounts and admin. Hopefully I'm not mistaken now. But it's pretty much just John, and he's writing the recipes. He delivers the beer. He does kind of everything by himself. He's just such a hard-working guy, and that's one of the things that I really love about beer, about the story, and about the people behind the beers. And for Beer Jerk, we kicked this thing off 8 years ago now. And we've chosen to only have beer from independent brewers. And that's definitely not to say that there isn't really good beer coming out of brewers like Emerson's, Panhead, Tuatara. There's really great people working at those breweries, and they do put some good beers out. But for me, as a drinker and as a person that runs a shop, I love the idea that my $12 that I'm spending on a beer goes towards somebody like John, that is putting it into his business to do really interesting stuff, rather than it going to Lion or to DB that are actually owned by like Heineken and Asahi and Mitsubishi Kirin. Yeah, there's also Boundary Road that's owned by Asahi. So as I say, it's definitely nothing against the wonderful people that work at these places. But when you think about the owners of these breweries, and you've got these really hard-working, really talented owners, and that's, as a drinker, I want to be drinking their beers. So so cheers to all the brilliant independent brewers out there, and cheers to John for making a banging Mountain IPA.
Cheers, John.
Cheers.